Nathan, NathanIvy.com. Mr. Ivy know the show me for me to cook on. Raised dogs, close fish snatch with the king flow, the hot shot. Cop squats in, listen to the real, jumping like hopscotch. Nobody harder than, oh no, think not. Not only citywide, but nationwide. Superlative, keep it locked like them Haitian guys. Put the truth in the airwaves, we talk about it. Brand new like the tip plates, let's be about it. Who got the info by the AM? John be the rapper, got them jamming when they play him. Staying in my lane, they ain't gotta okay him. Who the host with the scoop? Yeah, they gon' say him. Ivy, so superlative like a bag of drippos. Show you where the bricks at, Cincinnati Red Tag. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at. It's the 513, yeah, you know the flow. What's the word, Nate? Let them know the show. One time where my people at. Team NI where my people at.
Good morning, everybody. Let's pot that down. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Broadcasting live from beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio. This is Cincinnati's most dangerous podcast, The Nathan Ivy Show, the longest running daily digital show from the Cincinnati area. We chop it up 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. each and every weekday, and sometimes more. Good morning. Come on in. Today's show, why black people tend to shout. I want to talk about local issues, national issues, a little bit of international flows as well. Did you hear what happened yesterday during the funeral of Soleimani? That was the Iranian general that was killed because Trump is a weak-ass leader, and he's a punk-ass leader, and this is what punk-ass leadership does. That's what it does. I blame the Democrats for this whole impeachment thing. Y'all scared Trump into doing this. Now it's an international crisis, and it's not over. Have you heard the latest? I'll tell you what the Iranians are doing now. Stick around. Locally, I want to talk about numerous issues, but I also want to talk about a little bit of the conversation that was had at City Council most recently, and they were debating and talking about a proposal that was brought up by Jeff Pastor, a.k.a. Pastor X. I'm Pastor X. And Jeff Pastor, for those who don't know. Come on in, choppers. Please share. Just take a second and share today's show. It's very important. Just share it on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you might be listening. I really appreciate it. So Charles McMicken was a slave owner, a white slave owner, businessman, and he basically, the land that the University of Cincinnati is now on, the campus here in the Clifton Coreyville area in Cincinnati, Ohio, not too far from where I'm broadcasting now. They the University of Cincinnati's Board of Trustees most recently voted to change the name of one of its buildings, the Arts and Sciences building. They're going to change the name of it. Now, it was named after McMicken, Charles McMicken, because, again, he gave them the land for good white boy, quote unquote, good white boys and girls to get educated. Not you Negroes. You come up here trying to get educated on this university. Well, a lot of smart people decided that enough is enough. And we've got to stop revering slave owners on the low here in the greater Cincinnati area if we're really actually going to be who we claim that we want to be as a city, right? You know, diverse, open, the kind of place where you want your family to grow up. Well, how the hell are we going to be family friendly and we're revering slave owners? That's a contradiction. Speaking of which, I must talk about the Cincinnati Zoo. Something happened within the last 24 hours at the Cincinnati Zoo that just conjures up more just contradictions. It don't make no sense, but we'll get to that in a second. Again, local, national, international, maybe even pop cultural. Everybody's whining about black folks getting shut out from the Golden Globes. Well, stop. Get going. Who gives a damn about a Golden Globe anyway? I tell you, some people, man, they get the little golden Jesus, the little awards. They just take pictures with it. They're kissing it. Mwah, mwah, every time you see them on Facebook, they're kissing it. You know, Instagram would what the hell does that mean? I don't give a damn anymore. Stopped giving a damn about 9 years ago. There's a real power in not giving a F. And I'm a great example of it. I don't give an F. So let's talk about what happened at City Council. I thought this was fascinating, giving us some insights into the people who are currently in a leadership position on City Council. This is amazing. Now, shout out to Jeff Pastor. As I've said before, I'll say it again. That man is going to do something great for his community. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can see it. So Jeff Pastor, he wants City Council to get behind the idea of changing McMicken Avenue. That's another street in the city of Cincinnati that was named after Charles McMicken. As I said, it was a wealthy slave owner. Can you be a slave owner and still be like a good guy? Like, oh, those were just the times, Nate. I mean, everybody was doing it. Like vaping. Everybody's doing it. Like weed, smoking marijuana. Everybody's doing it, right? No, okay, everybody was not doing it. I mean, you got city council down here, members talking about, well, we don't know where the line is. You don't know where the line is. The line is with people that don't deserve to be revered. I will put slave owners at the top of that list. Nazis, close second. Slave owners, Nazis, who else you want to throw in this list? No, you don't get no streets named after you. I don't give a damn how much money you bequeath or land you bequeath or whatever the hell the proper term is. So what? You can't wash away your sins with money. This is interesting. So City Council member Jeff Pastor introduced a motion asking the city administration to report on the feasibility of changing the name of McMicken Avenue, which runs through Over the Rhine and Fairview. What you mean feasibility? Just change the damn name. They change names all the time. I don't understand feasibility, but I guess that's what you have to do, and it's the process. To me, it's real simple. We're going to change the name, and then you change the name. It's real simple to me, but I'm not on city council. What do I know? I don't know how these things work. And this is all in light of the fact that last month, as I said earlier, the UC Board of Trustees voted to strip his name from the college, which they should have done. I graduated. My wife and I both have degrees from the University of Cincinnati. She stayed on campus. I did not. I spent many moments. I even took classes out of McMicken Hall. And when I was at the university, I was aware of who Charles McMicken was because some of the other black students that was woke, we didn't use that term in the mid 90s, but, you know, we would talk about it. Like, this is some BS. And it was always some brothers and sisters that was a little bit more conscious that would be in TUC chopping it up, telling people what's going on. Shout out to those who went to the University of Cincinnati. And in particular, what do you think about this? Pastor wants the city to follow in UC's footsteps and take McMicken's name off of the street. And he was saying that perhaps they should name it after McMicken's daughter. Well, if McMicken was a slave owner, she was a slave owner too then, right? I mean, I think what they should do is change the name and name it after somebody, a prominent African American. That's what should happen. A prominent African American. That's the racists and the slave owners not only deserved for their names to be wiped away. That's just part of it. It needs to be replaced. What do you think? So McMicken's will freed his slaves upon his death. Oh, how gracious of you. So now that you're dead and you don't need us anymore, now we don't have to be slaves. See, some people think that's like, oh, that means he was actually a liberal. He was progressive for his time. You don't get no brownie points because you, in your will, you decided to let your slaves free. You don't get no points for that. The fuck? You don't get no point, not in my world. You don't get no points for that. Once a slave owner, always a slave owner. Period. Let me see. Pastor made a distinction between pushing to rename city features named after business owners like McMicken, who just lived a few years before the Civil War and emancipation, and earlier historical figures with many honorary landmarks named after them like Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers who also owned slaves. I think that, and I've said it before, Thomas Jefferson he should not be on Mount Rushmore. There should be nothing, no monuments after him, period. And don't give me all that, oh, he was one of the forefathers of our country stuff. Well, it's a bunch of them. don't get no props for that. I'm sorry. And the other thing is that Charles McMicken is not Thomas Jefferson. He's Charles McMicken. And apparently in the neighborhoods committee, pastor's idea met with some skepticism from committee member Amy Murray and Vice Mayor Christopher Smitherman. Quote, "We need to slow it down," Murray said. "We don't have all the information about this person. This is setting a precedence for how we're going to do this in the future." And I understand, you don't want to move too fast on certain things, but how much more information do we need to have? I mean, if they come across some books where people wrote nice things about Charles McMicken, like, he was a really gracious slave owner, they're going to take that into consideration? I mean, city council should follow the lead of the University of Cincinnati. They quite honestly should have did this shit 30 years ago. This should have been done 30 years ago. But no, progress is slow. Can you imagine that? Quote, "I worry that we'll be going down a slope when we're changing a lot of names in the city of Cincinnati." This is what Amy Murray said. Listen, this is an honest question. Where exactly in the universe is Amy Murray from? Because she is certainly not from this earth, this planet. The fuck is she talking about? "I worry that we'll be going down a slope when we're changing a lot of names in the city of Cincinnati." Well, maybe we have some work that's long overdue. Maybe we should have been done this. That's right. This should have been taken care of a long time ago. Christopher Smitherman, who voted in favor of moving pastor's motion to a full council vote, said he wasn't sure he was in favor of the name change either. What? Ninja, what? What did he say? Quote, he said that UC's decision might be more, quote unquote, liberal than his would have been, and that he wants more info about the totality of who McMicken was as a person. More liberal? What? I don't even know what that means, yo. But Christopher Smitherman, who is an African-American man, says he needs to get more information about Charles McMicken. Well, maybe they should. I mean, maybe the folks at the University of Cincinnati can share some of the notes from their task force, right? And they can share it with these council members, and they can get a bit more education. That would be necessary, I guess. I understand you want as much information as possible. That seems, Huh? I don't know. But we shall see. What do you think? Is this something that you would support? Do you think the council should get behind this? I would love to get your thoughts this morning. 513-873-7134. That is my number. All I ask is that you open your mind before you open your mouth. Other than that, it's all good. I say change that name. Change that name. So you got to have a nice snazzy little logo or slogan, should I say. Nice little chant. Trump is good with that. Remember the whole lock her up? We should say, change that name. Change that name. Get a little jingle behind it. Boom, there you are. To me, this should be easy. I worry that we'll be going down a slope where we're changing a lot of names in the city of Cincinnati. Who cares? Like, if we got to change a lot of names because, people are more conscious and sensitive these days, then so be it. Why do I like this such a big deal? It's no big deal. Change the damn name. It should wipe Charles McMicken's name from the history books, quite honestly. I mean, you whitewash everything else in history. Man, whitewash his ass too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm on one this morning. 513-873-7134. Perhaps, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, it's because we are living in the last days of common sense. I've been saying it for years, and every single day we get more evidence of that. Ish like this is exactly why black people tend to shout. I'll give you another reason why black people tend to shout in January 2020, is because our issues have yet to be addressed. They get overlooked. They get whitewashed. They get forgotten. They get ignored. They get played over and over and over again. And now we're living in an age, we got a whole new fight on our hands. Now we got to worry about the Iranians, thanks to Trump. All those people out there that said, ain't no difference between Trump and Hillary. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still on that. I just can't let it go. Anybody but Bernie or bust, right? Yeah, that was a smart strategy. Yeah, that's as smart as what's his name? Dr. Umar Johnson's strategy that he's not going to vote for any black candidates unless they are politically independent. Way to go, smart guy. That'll work. That will work. Hey, but good morning to you. Again, thank you for being here. You could be anywhere in the World Wide Web, but you choose to spend a few moments here listening to me go on and on about sometimes great issues of the day, sometimes of lesser importance. Another local issue is I read this last night, and as soon as I saw it, I thought about Michael Vick. As soon as I saw this story last night, I thought about Michael Vick. I'm still pissed about Michael Vick. This country don't give a damn about no damn animals. Since when has the United States cared about animals? Lying ass, sanctimonious. Oh, the animals. Locked this man up in a federal prison for 2.5, 3 years? Because he killed some dogs. The hell? They killed animals every single day. They do it at the zoo. Just happened last night. Or it happened most recently. I'm not sure when it happened. A 22-year-old white lion was euthanized at the Cincinnati Zoo. Zoo officials say they made the difficult decision to euthanize the lion. How is that any different from what Mike Vick did? What's it? I want one of my animal-loving listeners to call in and tell me what's the damn difference. So that's what we doing at the zoo? I thought that's where they love the animals. So I guess the animal got too old and I don't know, maybe has some illnesses or whatever. So they decided, you know what? We don't want to pay for this no more. Let's be real. This ain't worth our money anymore. I mean, if you're an animal lover, you got to be upset about that. If you're an animal lover, if you love the puppies, you love going to the zoo to see the animals in captivity, out of their national habitat. So Cincinnati's children can go up there and make faces through the bars. Sounds like a great life to me. Apparently this animal was one of Siegfried and Roy's. Yeah. I don't know if it was one of the animals that attacked Siegfried or something like that. Remember that? It was great. Exactly what the F they get. Stop effing with the lions. Leave the animal kingdom alone. I just thought that was interesting. I thought of Mike Vick. The world went crazy. They're still trying to go after Mike Vick. They don't even want him to be like an honorary captain of the Pro Bowl team or some crap like that. 100,000 people signing petitions. Meanwhile, in the nation's zoos, they're making life and death decisions about the animals all the time. But I guess a tiger is different from a puppy. I guess. What do you think? Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Ashley. Tony writes, good morning. Good morning to you, Tony. Ray writes, grand risings all. I tune in to some of my favorite shows on YouTube. You know, I was checking out Tariq Nasheed and Yvette Carnell and Tone, and they still bickering with one another. Yeah, they still going back and forth. This is new black leadership for you, though. This is digital black leadership arguing about dumb shit on YouTube. That's what they're doing. Oh, no, you're dumb. Oh, no, ADOS is better than FBA and all these minor issues. Meanwhile, Tracy writes, hi. Pat writes, good morning. Brenda writes, happy Tuesday. Sharp writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Ray writes, legit.gov. I'm not sure what that is, Ray, but good morning to you. Thank you for the link. CJ writes, good morning, all. Hey, Pam's in the house. Let me check out this avatar, Pam. Let me check it out. Looking good. Bringing that glow to the Chop Shop this morning. We need it. Mike writes, rise and shine, young stars. Hey, thank you for being here. What's up with you, Mike? Myers in the house. He writes, good morning, Choppers. It's quite fitting that the alt-middle Ayatollahs are the most and only dangerous crew on Cincinnati's most dangerous podcast. Alt-middle accepting applications until February 15th. That's the day after Valentine's Day. After that, the love is gone. You are immersed. Kelly writes, good morning. Mason Marler writes, morning, Nate and the Choppers. Hashtag education is undefeated. Hashtag no vote, no opinion. Hashtag get Get vote lit. Interesting. Good morning. CG Dub writes, good morning, choppers. Tony writes, I'll never forget years ago when I was a truck driver, I had a number of stops. On a particular day, and every television in each store had the same program on Al Jazeera. That's when I realized that at any moment, the Middle East did issue orders to strike us, and we never know. The threat is real. Mason Marler writes, good old Republican Amy Murray. Mason Marler writes, what? Question mark. Smitherman not sure about the name change? Question mark. Imagine that. Maya writes, Benito Mussolini provided Cincinnati with a statue of a wolf feeding my ancestors. And a homosexual city councilman wants his replaced. Man, F all of that. You talking about the Remus and Romulus statue over in Eden Park? Yeah, I read that as well. I did not know that, or maybe I've forgotten it, that it was a gift from a dictator. You ever seen it before? Mm-hmm. I dance for McMicken. Thank you for that, Mason Mahler. Appreciate that. I mean, what the hell? But I guess if you're on city council, maybe that's what you've got. To me, it's a no-brainer. Yeah, let's go change the name. I mean, I can't think of any good reasons as to why we shouldn't. Now, the University of Cincinnati took its name off of the largest college because of its slave-owning past. But the university left his name on McMicken Hall, McMicken Circle, McMicken Commons, and the Mick and Mac statues and restaurant. The question should be why? Why is Cincinnati holding on to the history of slave owners? And before you say, well, Nate, it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's actually very simple. According to historians, Charles McMicken purchased and sold slaves throughout the course of his life. He used slave labor in his homes and his store. Is there a history of Charles McMicken raping his slaves? Because, quite honestly, I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. So potentially, we have the name of not only a slave owner, but perhaps even a racist, a rapist as well. I know you might be thinking, Nate, you're jumping, but am I really? Come on now. He died of pneumonia in 1858. I hope it was painful. I do. F him. And you don't get any points because you freed the slaves when you died. I'm sorry. Because that tells me that you knew it was wrong the whole time you was alive. You knew it was wrong. But because it benefited you, you was cool with it. And then when you die, you think that that's going to get you into heaven. Man, if Charles McMicken is in heaven, I don't want to be there. When I get to heaven, his ass better not be there. Because I'm going to revolt, I think. Seems pretty simple to me. They should rename it after Peter H. Clark, who was a black man and educator who fought for equal education of black folks in the Cincinnati area. That's what they should do. Don't name it after his damn daughter. That don't make no sense. What sense does that make? Tell me that. What sense? So Charles McMicken was a slave owner, but we're going to name it after your daughter. No. The whole family loses out on the deal. You shot your deal with the slave owning thing. So I'm sorry. Just like the Nazis. You blew your deal with the Holocaust thing, bro. Sorry. You blew it. Ain't no redemption for that. I don't give a damn if you're making rockets for NASA. Yeah, I know the history. Oh, my God. You ever heard of rat lines? You should Google that. McMicken Hall, they need to rename that. There is enough prominent black people, prominent non-slave owning white people that they can name stuff after rather than McMicken. But I think it's like we getting comfortable. Or maybe it's like people like Amy Murray who like, you know what? Y'all changing too much. Y'all changing too much too fast. Wait a minute. What are we going to have to do? Think about remove the name of all the races in Cincinnati named after streets or whatever? What about cul-de-sacs and avenues? I mean, what in the hell? Who voted for Amy Murray? I didn't. That's what you get. That's what you get. It's the same woman. She didn't vote for Indigenous Peoples Day. They wanted to change their names. Like, why we gotta change people's names? Because when you know better, you do better. That's why. I mean, what purpose does Amy Murray serve on city council? I mean, what has she done? What is she champion? I'm sure it's a lot of stuff. I'm just ignorant. I fully admit I am ignorant on what Amy Murray has actually done with her time on city council. And as we get ready for the sunset, and we 2 years out, no more Amy Murray, it just seems like Cincinnati always has to have a token Republican or two to say dumb shit on city council, right? To put up the good fight for the good old boys or something. I mean, get with the times, boo. Get with the times, boo. What do you think? You think you should get props because, you freed your slaves upon your death? You're so gracious. Thank you. Oh, thank you, boss. Thank you. Now that you're dead and buried in dust, now I can get what God gave me when I should have had. Thank you. Thank you. God bless your heart. I hope that heaven has a ghetto and has no slave owners in it. Because that means we'll have good food, good music, and no slave owners. I think that's a good heaven. Let me see here. Let me see. Well, there's more to the story. While he owned slaves and fathered 2 children with at least one woman he owned, sounds like rape to me. I mean, fathered 2 children with a woman that he owned. Does that even sound right? Yeah, I own her, and this was consensual. I mean, this is amazing that local media would even write that sentence. He fathered, like it was all consensual. Oh, he owned slaves and fathered 2 children with at least one woman he owned. Now, how does that work? You own me, but I'm consensually having children with you. That woman didn't want to have. Have you seen him? Have you seen photographs of Charles McMicken? Please stop. Unless she was playing the game like, you know what? I'm going to be in the in-house. I'm going to be Master's concubine. I'm sure it was slave women, female slaves that had to play that game, unfortunately. They had to play that game, but they didn't want to. McMicken eventually freed a woman and her daughter who went on to live in Cincinnati. He also donated money to resettle former slaves in Liberia and gave land to free slaves. Well, that is great. You should have been doing that minus owning slaves and forcing them to have sex with you anyway. You don't get no props for that. You don't wash away. That's not going to wash away your sins. I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, I worked at the concentration camps and killed a lot of Jews, but, I gave a Jewish woman a house once. You don't get no props. You know what? You're a good guy. B, sorry. Some things you do, man, that's just who you are. For life, death, rest of time, it is what it is. That's just my opinion. But I have a very strong opinion about it. What do you think? 513-873-7134. I want to tune into this on city council because I want to hear what these motherfuckers were saying. I can't believe that you got an African-American on city council talking about, I need to see more information. I'm not so sure. This sounds more liberal. What's liberal or conservative? This is right and wrong. This is injustice and justice. Liberal? I thought it was an odd word. But who am I? What do I know? What do you think? 513-873-7134. He owned slaves. He had a non-consensual relationship with a slave. To me, it's like, just like in modern day times, we realize that a person can't give consent when they're unconscious. You got these cats, man, they want to date these women and get them all super drunk. They don't even know what they're doing. You want to try to pull them, have sex with them, which I think is a weak ass man anyway. Who wants to have sex with an unconscious woman? What kind of weak ass man Bill Cosby, right? Or I'm sorry, Pill Cosby. Pill Cosby, the former tight end for the Cleveland Browns. What was his name? His ass is in jail now. There was another guy who was like free safety for the Saints. He's in jail now. Date raping women, going out to the club, meet a woman, bring her back to the house. And she at your house, B. What's that tell you? But no, that's not enough for you. She's got to be unconscious. I hope they put these creeps under the jail, by the way. But I mean, if you can't consent when you're unconscious, and like if you're on the job and Tavis Smiley is like pushing up on you, then if you a slave, how can you really say no? Oh my God. But modern day media, they still trying to protect these guys with just nice little language. He owned slaves and fathered 2 children with at least one woman he owned. Mm-hmm. He freed a woman. That is so great. He freed a woman and her daughter. That is great. But that shouldn't get him into heaven. I'm sorry. If I'm in charge of heaven, your ass ain't coming in. If I'm at the gates, you ain't getting in. Sorry. That's just me. What about you? 513-873-7134. Let me see if I can find this audio for us, because this could be quite interesting. These mofos out here waffling. I mean, I'm not saying it's the biggest issue in the world or anything, but it does give you a sense of how people feel. Right? Miss Tiffany writes, good morning. Jared writes, good morning, hashtag Team NI. Brian writes, good morning. Tracy writes, my son went to Kenwood Mall yesterday. He said everything was cool. He went out to Kenwood? Damn. Did they ID him at the door? You talking about your 18-year-old son, right? Did he get there before? What's the curfew, like 4:30 or something like that? Or that's the cutoff time? Raised in the house. Mason Marler writes, black folks tend to shout because we have more access to more information than ever before. We can look their bullshit up now. Hashtag education is undefeated. Sister Iris is in the house. She writes, good morning, great people. Good to see you. Cam writes, go vote. It's your right to complain. Black Russia's in the house. He writes, good morning. Hashtag alt middle. Tracy writes, nobody would rather see an animal suffer. Put it down. Well, that's what Michael Vick did. Michael Vick wasn't taking healthy dogs and it's like, you know, we're just going to be fun. Let's kill it. That's not what he was doing. These were dogs that had been trained to fight and kill, who had either been damaged during battle and or psychologically was so effed up that after so many fights, what else you going to do? You can't make it a house dog. I mean, I'm not saying that the University of Cincinnati, I'm not saying that Cincinnati Zoo is responsible. I'm just saying it's just like a cultural thing. It's like on some levels, certain actions are wrong. But when the same actions taken by other people, it's like, oh, it's just part of business. All I'm saying with the Cincinnati Zoo is I hate how they try to make it seem like we all care about the animals. Oh, we love animals. If you love animals, you don't incarcerate them. If you love an animal, you don't just take it and put it in a cage. I'm just challenging conventional wisdoms. Other folks, you might be thinking, Nate, this don't matter. Okay, great, I get it. But to me, I see it very clearly. Tony writes, no noise from the Fiona people, right? It's a great point, Tony. The Fiona people, they love Fiona. They got T-shirts and baby bibs and napkins and underwear and all kind of shit with this baby hippopotamus. Like, oh, it's so cute. It's so cute. It's in captivity. It would be a lot cuter in its natural habitat. That's just me. And, you know, it's quite animal. You can just kill animals now? I thought it was wrong to kill animals. Like if I wanted to kill a dog today, you know what? Euthanized. I might be facing charges. But if I'm at the zoo and I do it, oh, now we're doing it because we preserve the animals. We love the animals. It's compassion. It's not compassion. I don't know about you, but when I get 80 and I'm deaf, dumb, and blind, I might not be able to walk, but damn it, I still want to live. If I got some kind of, natural whatever, I want to die through natural causes. Don't euthanize me because I'm too old to take care of. Don't get me started. Maya writes, Dillingham, the Kenwood Mall thing was only during the holiday break. Tracy writes, nah, famous every day for the blacks. Clue Magic's in the house. He writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Maya writes, Dillingham, not true. You've carved out a nice life for yourself. Don't pander to victimhood. Broadway Flo writes, Jeff Pastor, a.k.a. Rookie of the Year, is gunning for the MVP. Negroes in something shook over Iran. and Nathan comparing hanging and shooting and fighting dogs for losing a match with humanely putting down a suffering animal. Let me start right there. That's what Michael Vick did. Michael Vick was humanely putting down animals that he had been fighting. You know, you get these dogs and they're fighting and one dog gets badly injured. It was humane for them to put them down. Now, you might say, and I'm not telling you that you're wrong. I'm not saying I disagree with this. If your mentality is like, oh, Mike Vick, he never should have been fighting the dogs in the first place. Okay. All I'm saying is that's a Southern thing. And if Confederates can hold on to the flag, talking about, oh, it's a Southern thing, then black Southerners with these things with the dogs can do the same thing. Now, you might be saying, well, Nate, it's inhumane to treat an animal that way. And that's what I'm saying about the Cincinnati Zoo. It's inhumane. I think it's inhumane for these millennials to be running around here in a 500 square foot apartment with a big ass German Shepherd. You don't live nowhere near a park. How is that humane? Don't get me started. But back to your flow. Broadway writes, and y'all wonder why Trump is president. Got what y'all deserved. Anyway, good morning. Hashtag alt middle Ayatollah stand up. Well, Broadway, you're getting what you deserve too. Tony writes, of course, McMicken raped his slaves. You know, all them colonials was about that free chocolate sauce. Yeah, no, they had no, Tony. Amy Murray wants us to believe that they had a consensual relationship. It was just like an early interracial relationship. Sure it was, Amy Murray. What does Amy Murray do on council? What has she done? Anything? I'm sure it's a lot. I just don't know of it. It just never gets reported. Nobody ever talks about it, and there's no impact. Tracy writes, Fame, you're smart enough to know that a nice life is interpreted, not seen. No victims here. Just wanted him to keep his head on a swivel. Clue Magic writes, will Pastor and Smitherin be at odds over this? ? Probably not. Is Pastor becoming too black for city council? What further info does Chris need to see begin changing names? Amy Murray is only concerned with preserving history. Remove all the names. They're on the wrong side of history. Clue, I agree completely. What information does Christopher Smitherman, an African American, actually need? What more information do you need? Now, maybe it's something credible. I'm open to hear the conversation, but right now I can't think of it. It's like, oh, well, you know what? He did, there's some mitigating circumstances, Nate. He had a relationship with his sister. Yeah, sure he did. He had a relationship with his slave. Yeah, I'm sure they did. Anybody that believes that is a damn fool. You have to believe that. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, it really is, but it's the world that we live in. I say change the names. It's real simple. Why do we make things so complicated? It's simple. Change the freaking name. Change the freaking name. Nobody wants to see that. I support Jeff Pastor from what I understand. I think it makes a lot of sense. Let me see if I can get some of the city council here. It's loading up right now. I want to hear from myself what was actually heard, what is actually said. Dillingham, only 2 choppers live in the burbs. You're one of them. I thought you said son wasn't carded. Let me see. I met Steve Shabbat at the same library we were at last week, Russia. He said, just hold tight. Shabbat said 2020 might be his last go-round in Congress. Congressional lines will probably be redrawn in 2022. That'll be great for the people in the 1st Congressional District. Because Shabbat, I just wonder, I just wonder what he's really doing. Again, I think that the people in the 1st District can have much better representation. Tony writes, Amy Murray is the heir apparent to Leslie Giz. It appears so. Clue Magic writes, Amy Murray is on council to do the Velvet Races work. She abstained from the vote on the McMicken name change. What more info do you need? Cam writes, will Evans Ergon Negro get found guilty today and receive life prison? That's right. We're still watching that story. Yeah, I think that story is of huge importance. And I think they should throw the book at Evans. They should throw the book at him. because we don't understand the harm he might have did to minority-owned businesses. See, that's what the one thing that's impossible or has yet to be calculated. Here you are, you got a front company that's really your company. You prop up one of your employees and on paper make it seem like it's his company, but it's really your company. And essentially you're stealing from minority-owned firms to feed you and yourself. I think it's a huge crime. We'll see. We'll see. I say put his ass under the jail. Black Russia writes, Clue, pastor and the vice mayor may not agree on everything, but they won't be at odds. The vice mayor has been a great fan of the Rookie of the Year. Nathan Ivy, please post a decision from the first curse to... Yes, I will. I will post that. Let me see. BR Chris needs to get behind his name change idea of pastors post haste. Black Russia writes, Shabbat is a nice guy, Meyer, very approachable. Shabbat is a very nice guy. You know, face to face, he's a really nice guy. He seems like he makes a lot of sense. And, but in terms of what he stands for and the policies he gets behind, I don't know if that's the best for the first district, but obviously it is. They love it. Nathan, thoughts on Weinstein hobbling into court yesterday? Well, it looks like everybody's getting what they wanted, you know, because every time something happened to R. Kelly or Bill Cosby or some other black actor gets caught up with the Me Too or through his own sexual criminal conduct, now Harvey Weinstein looks like he's going to be brought to justice. His accuser said that seeing him brought back all the things, like the experience that he went through. Well, I mean, two things. Harvey Weinstein would not be the first person to try to, if in fact this is what happened, to try to fake some type of like handicap to try to get sympathy. You know, Harvey Weinstein was looks like he was a creep, pushing up on women or whoever he wanted for sexual favors. And what he was holding for them over them was the key to the Hollywood lifestyle. Yep. Yeah. You want to be a star? Cool. Come on into my office. Come on, step in here. Yeah. No. Nobody. No. We cool. So I'll be following it. I did see him walk into court, and it is on my radar screen. Mason Mahler writes, a good old Smitherman, this dude. He writes Darren Sharper. Right, it was Darren Sharper. Black Russia writes, no, he doesn't include the vice mayor is focused on more pressing issues. I applaud Jeff for his proposal, but everyone can have the space to vote how they see fit. Whether Micken Street name is changed, don't make me shit. Yeah, no, you're going to try to play it down because it seems like Smitherman's on the wrong side of this, although we don't know how he might ultimately vote or anybody else on city council might vote for that matter if it goes to a full council vote, which I would be interested in seeing. But no. I disagree with that. I'm not saying that this is a groundbreaking issue that will change and impact the lives. You know, it's not a kitchen table issue. However, the issues involved do give us insight into who is who and who values what. You know, every day that we take into this new decade, people are becoming more and more conscious and more sensitive about the world around them, about the history of the world around them, and about the various names, bridges, statues, and other little sources of, you know, buildings and things like that. And we understand that those are sacred spaces that should not be occupied with people that got bad resumes. And if you got slavery on your resume, in these days and times, people are getting called out. You know, it's not just backyard Becky or poolside Patty. People are being conscious about the world around them in general. So to me, you know, this is old news that should have been taken care of a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? To me, there's a reason why the University of Cincinnati has decided to put together a task force. There's a reason. I mean, if you surround yourself on any levels, again, most people ain't even conscious about McMicken. They don't know who Charles McMicken is. There's people that live on McMicken Avenue who probably don't even know who Charles McMicken is. But we ain't talking about them people. And then sometimes you got to save people from themselves or to enlighten people about situations they don't even know about. To me, this is a no-brainer. To me, this is a no-brainer. And the resistance that anybody puts up to me makes me look at them a little bit more skeptical. I'm just going to be telling you, that's just how I look at it. I'm like, well, why are you resistant to something like this? That's my question. Hold on here. Let me see. I got City Council Law and Public Safety already queued up. Let's tune in.
Training. That development has now happened around that shooting range. All of that we know is true. The question is, can we enclose it? So what does it cost to enclose the shooting range? So, if me personally, I go out to a shooting range, I won't give a commercial for any of those shooting ranges. They're all enclosed. I don't know what the cost is to enclose them. I don't know what the value of the land is or what other options we might have for it. But I think it is valuable for this committee. We heard enough testimony from different politicians from different municipalities raise it as an issue that we should also wrestle with it. Former council member Paul Booth has spoken to me about this himself and has raised it as a concern. I have tremendous respect for former council member Paul Booth.
What's going on out there in Lincoln Heights with the shooting range
in the city? And so he also is saying, how can we find a compromise around this? So before we deal with it or have any kind of roll call vote, I want to open it up for any comments or testimony from my colleagues.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Yeah, I see that Fraternal Order of Police, Dan Hills is here, so I'm interested to hear what they have to say. And when we were listening to our police last time, I know that they had some concerns that they needed that range there. So while, hopefully there can be some sort of middle ground, I think it's important that we have our police facility there. I don't know that there's any other place we can relocate. So I think, I really want to hear from our police department as far as what's the feasibility and cost. So not just cost, but, the different options as far as what they have to do there, if it's enclosed or if it needs to be open.
Vice Chair, President Hills, if you'll come forward. I know you might not be prepared to speak on this agenda item, but
not at all, but I'll wing it.
But we certainly will appreciate your testimony this morning about it. I'm sure you know the history and the importance of the shooting range to our officers.
Certainly. The type of facility that
this is interesting. This is Dan Hills.
Would need, which is one that's functional, a couple hundred
days. He loves this show
because we have to qualify recruits. We have to re-qualify each of our officers. We have constant training with our SWAT team up there as far as firearms goes. I wasn't prepared nor expecting to talk on this topic, but like I said, I'm willing to wing it a little bit. I think what maybe you may want to consider looking into, completely enclosing a place would be very expensive because you're talking about lead removal and the things that come with a fully enclosed target range. The air circulation and stuff would be very, very expensive. What I wonder is if there could be some sort of study, maybe put out for bid, walls that flank the target range with some sort of sound absorbing material to where it would not eliminate completely the noise from the target range, but I'm suggesting that you could probably greatly reduce it.
Well, this is a very serious issue to a lot of the citizens in Lincoln Heights here, because there's a target, there is a shooting range that's used by law enforcement, and primarily black folks have been complaining about the noise pollution and I'm just wondering about the long-term effects of hearing shots fired and things like that. So it seems like it's not going to move, but they're looking at some alternatives where it might reduce the sound by absorbing it. And I think that's a very just necessary. People have been complaining about it.
Bill that we're looking at,
and city council's reacted to it.
I've never seen it quantified about what it cost for our city solicitors team to engage this for the last year. I believe as a taxpayer, there's a value there, that there's a cost there, that it is not free. People throw the word free around. I don't think, Attorney Stackpole, that the work that you do for the city of Cincinnati is free. So I want to get a better understanding of the hours, and I mean every hour, that our legal team has placed on this case. And I'd like to have a value that is the same hourly value that we would have a private attorney do. Meaning, I don't want us to say that their billable hours are less than your billable hours, right? But I think it's important for this committee to pay back. So
good morning. We're listening to Law and Public Safety Committee from just yesterday. So really interesting topics were brought up. Check this out.
The next question is, for you is, where did the name Gang of Five come from? You don't have to, I don't know if you know the answer to that. You can answer it. But that is a question that I want you to answer on the floor of council, because I'm sharing with the public, it's not some political term that I'm using here as the chair. And I think it's important for the public to understand where the origin of the Gang of Five language came from.
Why is he talking about this?
Next question I have is, do you have any evidence that the council members Mann, Murray, Pastor, or Smitherman are a part of the Gang of Five? And I want you can answer that. Is there any evidence that you've read or seen from anything that you've looked at?
Nobody. You know what's so interesting about this is that nobody says the term Gang of Five more than Christopher Smitherman. Nobody. Why? What is he talking about? Why are they talking about the Gang of Five? Very interesting. Very interesting. What do you think? Hold on. So I'm trying to get to all of this tape here, but I don't want to take too much time because I got a call on the line and I want to bring him in. Give me 1 second, y'all. And perhaps this caller can give us some insight, and at least his opinion about it. I got Black Russia on the line. Good morning, Black Russia. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for holding, and I appreciate you. What's going on?
Sure thing. Hey, not too much. You know, I thought this was funny. You asked, like, what is Amy Murray good for on city council? Like, you asked it a lot. And, I mean, the same question could be posed to, like, somebody like P.G. Sittenfield. I mean, what good is this person on council?
Well, no,
what good is Silbach on council?
That's not the question I asked.
It's just like you bullying Amy Murray, bro.
No, I didn't ask that question. I didn't ask what good is she. What I asked was, what does she do? What has she sponsored? I mean, that's what I asked.
Well, I mean, the same could be asked for all these council members.
You're right.
I'm just like, you're singling out Amy Murray, and it's just like, she's about out the door.
And that's why the real Amy Murray's coming out. I'm singling her out because her comments were singled out in an article I'm reading about this whole thing with Jeff Pastor and changing the name of McMicken Avenue. And she's talking about she needs to do a study and, whoa, let's pump the brakes here because what are we going to change too many names? And I'm thinking, yeah, we might have to change some names. So what? You know, I'm trying to figure out where she's coming from.
I mean, it just seems to me that there's so many other pressing issues. The name changes, and I mean, I'm not even opposed to it, against it. I'm just kind of like, number one, where do you draw the line at? And number two, is it really this pressing? Is it really this important? Isn't there other stuff going on? Like, they want to take bulls out of parks now. Like, you know, where does it end? Who's going to be more mad? Is what it boils down to. Who's going to be more mad about a street name? Who's going to be more mad about a bull in a park? You know, like, it's just, to me, it's getting kind of corny.
Well, you brought up the whole bull in the park and the statue and Mussolini. I didn't even bring that up. That has nothing to do with
my you brought it up earlier. I mean, I thought somebody brought it up earlier.
Yeah, in the
chat room.
Meyer brought it up. He brought it up.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, that's kind of a separate issue. And where do you draw the line? Which I think is an amazing question considering the context of what we're talking about. But you draw the line with slave owners. How about right there, slave owners?
So what I'm saying is now, okay, somebody made another point. Somebody said that, well, Ludlow owned slaves too. We're going to change Ludlow name right there?
Yeah, I'm down with that too.
We're going to change Harry's name?
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, we're going to change every name of slave
What are we
owners,
trying to prove?
We're trying to prove that.
And I'm asking honestly too.
Yeah, and I'm answering honestly. Yeah, we're going to change the name of all the slave owners. And then two, we're trying to prove that we no longer revere the evil acts that these people committed. That's what we're trying to prove. We're trying to prove that
I
we're
don't know
more
if it's,
enlightened.
I don't know if it's a reverence thing though. I mean, these are just the names of streets.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a reverence thing.
I'm kind of, I don't know about that. I just see a street name.
Nah, they don't name street names just after anybody. Usually it's somebody who's did something significant for that locale. That's what I'm saying. They don't just open up the book and say, you know what, let's get a new street name and just eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Usually it's somebody who has done something to that particular locale. And all I'm saying is we need to start revering slave owners. That's the reason why the University of Cincinnati did it, which is really what started this whole conversation. And then Jeff Pastor, in his wisdom and his consciousness, picked up on it and said, you know what about the city of Cincinnati? He was right to do that.
Hey, Jeff's my boy. I mean, but, my thing is, again, it's a lot more other stuff. There's a lot of other stuff going on.
Yeah, but that's not the point,
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that concerning, the taxpayers' money going on.
Yeah.
It's just like, street names is cool. I mean, I guess, but, it just seems like there's more pressing stuff going on to me.
I bet it does.
That's me, though.
Yeah, but then, your boy, the vice mayor, Christopher Smith, man, he African-American man, he's talking about he needs to know more about this and let's hold up a little bit. I'm like, wait a minute, bro. Where your consciousness at? What you mean? It seems like a no-brainer. I don't get it, but
I don't. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's a no-brainer or not.
Okay.
Because studying the issue is nothing wrong with studying. I mean, hell, you got people coming in studying the tax issue about Cincinnati Public Schools. I mean, did you know that agreement expired?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pressing issue, and so
we've been talking about it.
And the vice mayor offered a compromise of 31%, so that the Cincinnati Public Schools could try to get to the 33% that they're trying to get to. They're trying to be in the middle,
right,
and get that deal done. That's a money deal.
Yeah.
That just seems like
we've been following that story. I've been following that story since last year. Michelle Dillingham, the woman who is leading the charge on that local,
the most dangerous city council candidate in the race. Yeah.
Right. Well, she might like that, but she's been on the show a multitude of times, talking to us specifically about that. So yeah, we're well aware of it, and I'm aware that there's a council member who has a proposal, which I may get a chance to get to, PG Sittenfield. So yeah, I'm very aware of that. But again, we can walk and chew at the same time.
He don't have a proposal though. Well, hold on, time out. He don't have a proposal though. It's not a proposal. He want to bring somebody in to give a lecture about the financing aspect of it, instead of the vice mayor was the first person to put a deal on the table. And PG is trying to let's study it a little more. It's the same concept. He want to say you want to study the issue of changing street names. It's like, where's the consciousness at? But PG want to study why, Cincinnati Public Schools should get some more money. It's like, oh, that's a proposal. That's a good deal. Come on.
It sounds like a proposal. That's what it sounds like. But again, that's
come on. It sounds like I want to study the issue.
Okay. But back to this, and I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to figure out where that's why I'm playing this audio. I'm trying to figure out where Christopher Smithman is coming from.
Well, I missed the audio, so I can't speak to the audio. Is that what you were playing?
Yeah, we're about to get to it when I got the phone with you. I'll get to it probably then.
Okay, because I didn't hear the audio. I mean, I read about it in the paper, but I didn't hear the audio. So I'll be interested to hear the audio discussion of it. But what's wrong with studying it? I mean, you saying the brother's not conscious because he want to study that?
No, I'm just saying, what's to study? I mean, we know he was a slave owner. What else is there to study? What else? Like, for instance, if I know you, it's not that simple, Nathan Ivey. He's a slave owner, so we're going to just change the name. I mean, again, we might as well just change every freaking name in Cincinnati. We should change every freaking name in Cincinnati if there's a street, avenue, boulevard, or cul-de-sac named after a slave owner. I agree with that.
But who got time for that? Ain't nobody got time for all that. There's too much other stuff going on.
There's a lot of people that got time for it. Number one, there's people that get paid to change the things so they can get some overtime. And number two, that's part of what city council's supposed to do. They setting the tone. They setting the tone for, the environment. I mean, what black person wants to live in a city where all the street names is named after slave owners?
I don't think black folks are really thinking about that, Nathan. I think black folks are more concerned about money in their pocket, being able to pay their mortgage or pay their rent, being able to get food for their families, and be able to go to jobs and everything. I don't think they're really thinking too much about, I'm so oppressed that this, I need the street name change because I'm that oppressed. I don't think black folks are going around thinking like that, bro.
I don't think black folks are going around thinking like that either. You're right about that. I don't believe that. That's not the point I was trying to make. I'm just saying that in a conscious society, as a conscious black person who wants to live in a city where all the damn streets are named after, or any streets are named after slave owners. And you're
I mean,
conscious
I think
of
if
it.
you're thinking about that stuff, you got too much time on your hands. If
Man.
that's what you're thinking about,
Man.
you got a whole hell of a lot of time on your hands.
Oh, no. And I think again, I'm going to find this and post inside the Chop Shop, because I think that the folks who've done the best work on this is the task force at the University of Cincinnati. They put together a task force of faculty, staff, alumni, administrators, and the bullet points in their conclusion, you should read them. And they make a
I think that's academia. I mean, they have time. That's their job to think about that stuff. I'm talking about representation for the city of Cincinnati. You know, there's a lot of other stuff going on. You know, around UC, they probably ain't got too much going on. I mean, you know, they can sit around and study this, you know, slave names and streets and all this other ish. I mean, they got time for that. They're academics. They're supposed to do that. I'm just saying, you know, as a governing body, I mean, I'm just like, I think there's a lot of other stuff going on. Again, I mean, I like Jeff. That's my boy.
There's
But I'm
always
just like,
a lot of
hey,
other stuff going on. There's always a lot of other stuff going on. Right. But, you know, we can walk and chew gum at the same time. We can deal with multiple issues, including this one, while dealing with more issues that you think are more important. So I get
and the same thing with Sealbach. I mean, we're talking about a statue in the park, and it's like all of a sudden now it's a problem. All of a sudden that bull been there. I've seen it too. It's been there since I was a kid, if I'm not mistaken.
So you know, I'm not as focused
for damn near
on
40 years. All of a sudden it's a problem.
I'm not as focused on that issue, so I don't even know what Sealbach.
Well, why
is
not? I mean, I think it's along the same lines as changing street names. It's like who's more mad about society?
No, it's not. It has
Who's
nothing to do
more
with it
angry?
whatsoever. No, I'm mad about this, if you want to use the term mad, because I think it should have been done a long time ago at the University of Cincinnati and throughout the Cincinnati area to wipe McMicken's name away. Real simple. You ain't got to forget him. His name will be in the history books, but I think it'll be a positive move forward for those who are aware.
All
of
right,
it.
well, I'm gonna keep watching it. I just, I thought to put that out there because I'm just like, don't we got other stuff going on?
Yeah, I mean, I understand you want to try to water it down because your boy Smitherman looking like he's not conscious on this issue. So you want to try to make it seem like the issue ain't that
Smitherman is
important.
my boy, Chess my boy. I mean, I got friends, but the reality is I don't always see the same things my friends see.
I know. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying you do. I was just saying I understand why you're trying to water this down and make it seem like it's not that important. I get it.
Well, it's not. Look, again, you understand I'm trying to water it down because it's not that important. Look, I just think there's more pressing issues going on in the city of Cincinnati.
Always more pressing issues going
and the
on.
vice mayor didn't even say he wasn't with it. He said he wanted to study it.
Yeah.
I think give him the space to study it.
Okay.
If what you're saying about history is true, then the facts will bear that out, and then the brother will make a conscious vote. But to be like, oh, what else you got to study? Like, come on, man. Like, let the brother, he's elected to study stuff, to make conscious decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And he want to be versed in the decision. It's not a matter of, what else is there to study. Let the brother study it. I was just saying, like, people want to find a reason to criticize Vice Mayor all the time. He want to study the issue. He didn't say it was against it. He want to study it. Jeff's the one to put it on the table. Okay, let's see what happens.
And we will.
I just think there's a lot of other stuff going on.
I know you said it about 10 times already. You're right. I know that.
I know.
That's how you feel.
I want to make sure I'm clear.
You're very clear. You're very clear.
Okay.
You're blocking like Anthony Munoz for your boy. I get it.
Oh, my goodness. Now I'm blocking like Anthony. Where have I heard that before?
I don't know. Maybe somewhere.
Well, look, you do a lot of blocking for PG all the time, so we're even.
Do I? Okay.
Oh, hell yeah, you do. Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. When you see it, make sure you call in and point it out.
I'll definitely do that. I pointed it out before. Remember that meme I made?
I don't
I'm
remember.
not biased when it comes to PG and Tamaya.
You said you made a meme? I don't remember.
Yeah, remember that post you made where it said, I'm not biased when it comes to people it's just that I like, so I'm not biased, or I'm biased when it comes to PG and Tamaya.
You made a meme out of that? You made a meme out of that? I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Got it tucked away.
Okay. Well, you should pull it out at the right moment then when you need to.
Yeah, I will. It's like next year sometime.
All right. Anything else?
Luka Doncic is balling.
Luka Doncic is balling, man. But you know what? Do you ever watch that All the Smoke podcast on Showtime with Captain Jack?
No, is that any good?
Oh, it's fire, man. It's fire. It's real good. Like it's a whole bunch of athletes doing podcasts, but I like them. I think it's a good mix. But anyway,
is that the one? Yeah, go ahead.
With Matt Barnes, and then Steven Jackson. It's just a good mix, man,
Okay.
because those was two. I like both of those players. But anyway, Matt Barnes was on ESPN most recently, and they asked him about Luka Doncic. He made a great point that Luka Doncic is not really a rookie. He's a rookie to the NBA, but he's been playing professional basketball with grown men since he was like 15, 16. And that's part of the reason why he's so good.
Yeah. That's a good point. I think you're going to probably have a lot of kids. I think I don't know where I read this at, but I was reading about there's one kid who's supposed to be highly rated in the top 100 who's saying he might just go overseas and play for a year and come back and go to the draft instead of going to college.
Who's that? Like LaMelo Ball?
Well, I don't think LaMelo is a good example because he wasn't. He went over there when he was still in college. I mean, he went to UCLA, then he went over there, came back, and now he in the G League, I guess. But yeah, something like that. I mean, I guess
he's
right out of high
He's playing
school.
overseas.
Say what?
He's playing overseas. I think he's playing in Australia.
Oh, I thought so. I thought the G League team picked him up.
Let me double check, man. But as of
I'll
last
double
week,
check it too.
he was still playing in Australia, getting ready for the draft. They say he might be top 3, could be number 1.
Shut up, for real?
Yeah,
This is the youngest one, right?
this is the youngest one. Yeah, they're saying he's a top 3 prospect this
Okay,
year.
all right. See, I was talking about the middle one.
Okay, isn't that LaMelo? Because the middle one is
I was
LiAngelo.
wondering- Yeah, okay. Yeah, whoever the middle one is, he's on a G League team.
Okay. So the middle one is LiAngelo Ball, and then the youngest one is LaMelo Ball.
Okay, so LaMelo's the one that's coming out probably top 3.
Yeah, he's coming out top 3.
They said he was better than LiAngelo anyway.
Yeah, you can see that though, just in the body type, man. When I saw him hooping on different videos, not all those sons are gonna make it to the NBA. 2 of them are. Lonzo's balling. I still like Lonzo Ball. He's got a great game.
Yeah, he putting them numbers into him.
Yeah, I like watching him ball. Natural baller, man. Natural baller. And I think his little brother's
Yeah,
gonna probably
he's
be
very
better.
intelligent.
Yeah, he's a hell of a player. You can tell. Just a team baller. I wish they
Right.
could have
Yeah,
kept him with the
sometimes
Lakers.
everybody can't play in Lakerland.
Yeah, I wish they would have kept him though. I'd love to see him come. Well, he's not really coming off the bench. Well, yeah, he can come off the bench. He'd be great.
He could have, but LeBron's playing point guard.
Yeah, I know.
They had to make room for LeBron to play point.
I ain't too happy, but it is what it is. That's what LeBron gets that. So I get it. LeBron,
They gonna win the title?
LeVar. If they can stay
The
healthy,
Lakers.
if the Lakers can stay healthy, I think they're a piece away to really seal the deal. If they can stay healthy, get another piece to help that bench because the bench needs help. They got as good a shot as anybody else. I think their big competition is going to be the Clippers, the Rockets,
Yeah.
and then the Bucks. That's the biggest hurdle to me, anyway.
Yeah, those are big hurdles. I mean, I'm not a too much of a believer in Houston. I've seen Russell Westbrook and James Harden before at OKC, so I'm like, the Clippers though, yeah, because
but Harden's
the boy is
unstoppable.
just a straight dog.
Harden's unstoppable. No one man can guard him. Nobody can guard him.
I think he guards himself when it gets tight. He starts guarding himself though. He self-check.
True.
I think he just when it gets to the big moments, he just don't show up. I mean, he's a great regular season player.
I think he's tired as hell, man. I mean, all that, he got the ball in his hand, more ball usage than anybody else in the NBA. He gets to the playoffs,
Yeah.
he's done. He's done. That's why that Russell Westbrook, I think, will help that team. Because he's got moxie and heart, and he'll go out there and do what he got to do in the playoffs. I think it'll be great to watch. I can't wait to watch it, no matter who wins. and loses.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. I watched him on Christmas Day, and I mean that boy Kawhi Leonard just
Yeah, he on another
just got
level.
some dog. Just got a dog in him.
Yeah, he do. He on another level. He like a man of born boys out there sometime. Long ass arms.
He's hooping.
Well, listen, anything else?
That's it, man. Have a good day.
You too, man. Take it easy. That's Black
Yeah, you
Russia. Talking a little basketball to end it. That's always nice. End it on some nice notes. That's great. Says he has a meme about me. That's great. I'm sure I'll see it soon. All right, let me get back to this. 513-873-7134. I did miss a phone call when I was talking Black Russia, and you can feel free to call back into the show. And, hey, what's going on, Pam? Hey, how you doing? Hey, good to see you. Yes, Pam Bowers on Cincinnati School Board. All right, we were talking about Jeff Baxter, and Black Russia was making his hardest argument to make it seem like that this topic doesn't really matter. I disagree with him. I disagree. I think it matters at the University of Cincinnati, and I think it matters in the city of Cincinnati. I think it says something about the overall morality and value system of a particular city or locale or whatever. Is it the number one kitchen table issue? Well, obviously not. We know that. But what's interesting is that when these issues come up, it gives us a window into the mindset of the members of city council at the very least. You know, it gets them talking. When they start talking, they start to reveal things about their value system, what's important to them, what's not important to them, and things like that. You know, people said the same thing about Indigenous People Day. Meaning, to me, I thought that Indigenous People Day was a no-brainer. I thought it was a no-brainer. And you had members of city council that was yabba dabba doing, well, I got to study this. Let me study this. I got to study. Who was Christopher Columbus again? You know, I don't need to study about Indigenous People Day. You don't have to study about it. I don't have to study. Oh, he was a Nazi? No more studying needs to be done. I already got everything I need. Oh, you was a slave owner? That's the end of the study right there. I got all the information I need, B, but I guess when you're on city council, you've got to do your due diligence. And you got to study. Now, what is he going to do to study? What I think he should do is, like I told you, my suggestion was the University of Cincinnati, they put out the bullet points of their task force. And I thought it was an excellent read to understand, you know, the mentality of what they were dealing with. Here it is. All right, here it is. Got it. Just the mentality, right? And it gives us a sense of the mentality of the men and women that make up city council, at the very least. You have to admit that. But I don't understand. So what are they going to study? Going to read some books? Going to read some books? We're going to read some books about Charles McMicken. And, you know, we'll see. We'll see. He owned slaves and fathered 2 children, which I think is hilarious. Yeah, he fathered 2 children, all right. I'm sure it was a consensual relationship. Let's see. Clue Magic writes, Weinstein won't make it out of 2020. He can barely walk and is losing weight rapidly. If he survives 2020, I'd be surprised. Jericho writes, Ola, beautiful black people, and the others too. He doesn't mean he and his friends weren't followed. You tracking Chopper's residences? Ray writes, will change in the name reverse the course of gentrification, nepotism, children in poverty, and low-income housing challenges, food deserts, poor health care, homelessness, etc.? No. And I don't think it's intended to do that. You know, how could changing a name have any impact on any of those things, Ray? Obviously not. We know that. That's not the point. Clue Magic writes, council is capable of taking on more than one issue at a time. Yeah, I know. Thank you, Clue Magic. People acting like you can only do one thing. Council can only deal with one issue at a time. Now, if that was the case, then yeah, I tell you, then we're going to push the whole name change thing maybe to the nearer the back of the line. There might be some more pressing issues, but obviously they can deal with multiple issues at one time. Tracy writes, Nathan, stop it about the animals. You don't care about them either, LOL. So you got me completely wrong, Tracy. I actually care about animals. That's why I don't incarcerate them. That's why I challenge people who say that they love animals and you got a 500 square foot apartment and you're not near a park. That's not loving a dog. That's you loving the idea of having a dog. My grandfather had a couple dogs growing up. One of them reminded me of Benji. In fact, his name was Benji. And when he got hit by a truck, I was beside myself with tears. I was very upset. My grandfather acted like it wasn't nothing. It was his dog. I'm like, you ain't going to shed no tears for Benji? So, no, Tracy, I just point out the hypocrisy in things that other people just take for granted because they don't think about it. It's what I've always done. That's my gift. I just share it with you. So, no, I care very much about the animals. It's not that I don't care. I just point out the hypocrisy in our culture. Everybody gets so crazy when Michael Vick euthanized his fighting dogs. But when your local zoo does it, nobody says a word. Dead is dead. From the animal's perspective, what difference does it make whether it's some black guy with an Atlanta Falcons jersey and an Atlanta Falcons hat on backwards doing it, or somebody with a Cincinnati Zoo uniform? There's no difference. So what I would say, I used to say the same thing about Steve Irwin. I used to say, Steve, leave the animals alone, hugging on crocodiles and flipping over dolphins and riding on the backs of turtles in the Australian outback. Okay. And you see what happened. They put a hit out on his ass. You see what happened. So no, I'm pro animals. I'm actually pro animals because they're God's creatures. And as human beings, we think we have control and dominion over everything, and we do not. And we should not. Black Russia writes, that's true, Clue, but street names and statues got more important shit to focus on. Yeah, I'm sure you do, because your boy out here looking like he ain't got no consciousness. I get it. I just say looking like. I didn't say he did not. I said looking like. So now you want to make it seem like this don't matter. Okay, well, it matters to some people. I guess it matters to the people that it matters to. I guess. I don't know. What do you think? Hold on. Let me put my headphones back on. And I want to go right back to the Law and Public Safety Committee.
Council were referred at the same time.
Let's see what happened.
For prosecution.
To the chair, I don't believe that has ever happened.
So you can answer that today, that you don't believe that this has ever happened.
To the best of my knowledge, it has never happened.
Yeah. And so I want the public to understand that this is what is creating the constitutional crisis, that we have a majority of council, 5 out of 9, being referred
constitutional
for
crisis,
some particular corruption. But if this council wants to move forward with the motions that I have before council, we can't do that possibly because a majority of council is involved in the case. And I don't believe the founding fathers of this city thought about this type of quagmire that 5 members of council could put us in.
Yeah, I think he's probably right about that, because how could the founding fathers that started the city of Cincinnati possibly conceive of emails and text messages? What is... Oh, okay, I get it now. Okay, so Christopher Smitherman is going to drag out the Gang of Five thing as much as possible. And okay, I get it. Let's listen to more.
And I want to try to evoke a question of how do we get out of it? But anyway, so the next question is...
Stop talking about it.
For you is, where did the name Gang of Five come from? You don't have to... I don't know if you know the answer to that. You can answer it. But
like I want to... Nobody talks about Gang of Five more than Christopher Smitherman. But yeah, he'll sit back and act like, oh, this is a thing that's just got a life of its own. I didn't come up with it. Wendell Young said it in a text message. And that was it. And ever since then... the conservative media picking up on the lead of Christopher Smitherman have been running from it. And what I'd like to know is, how is that a kitchen table issue? I mean, you tell me. You tell me. 513-873-7134. But this is interesting.
That is a question that I want you to answer on the floor of council, because I'm sharing with the public, it's not some political term that I'm using here as the chair. And I think it's important for the public to understand where the origin of the Gang of...
That's exactly what it is. Why is he answering this question? Who asked this? So this is Christopher Smitherman using his position as the chair of Law and Public Safety to further talk about the Gang of Five, waste a lot of people's time for politics. I'm just telling you what it is. This is what I see. What do you see? I had no idea that this even came up.
Language came from.
Okay, let's move forward. I'm trying to get to something else.
Or a reason of why the lead taken about the interest in the contract. If we are your clients and 3 of us or 1 of us or 4 of us are asking that question, can we...
The hearing that was held in front of Judge Ruhlman was a civil hearing. No one pled guilty to anything as of this point.
I mean,
they
this man has spent... Hold on. I didn't even realize this, Black Rush. You didn't tell me this, man. I went to this looking for something else. And this is what I found. So he spent like 30 minutes talking about Gang of Five and trying to get this gentleman, who is he, just city solicitor, to talk more about Gang of Five. But that's a better usage of the time then change the name of old, stale, dusty-ass racist slave owners. Okay. Oh, no, I must be different.
Clear on the record.
I appreciate that. When you come and report back in 2 weeks, will you please detail the facts that they admitted to? So give this committee a complete outline of what facts they admitted to.
Why? Why? So this is Christopher Smitherman weaponizing the Law and Public Safety Committee. You spent all that time talking about the Gang of Five. What a waste.
Judge Ruhlman. They did not plead guilty, but they admitted to a set of using language like sulfuric. Like these are young high schoolers who are discussing something that's inappropriate.
What the hell is sulfuric? Is that like a new mineral they found somewhere? Sulfuric? You mean sophomoric?
I think that diminishes the magnitude of what has occurred here. Because what we're dealing with is the Ohio open meeting laws. We're not dealing with what they said.
Is this what's been going on at the Law and Public Safety Committee? I'm glad I missed it. Non-stop talk about the Gang of Five. I mean, this clip is 40 minutes long, and I would say at least 20 minutes of it has been dedicated to just that. Let me go to the beginning here. Maybe he started with something else before that. The hell? Nobody told me this. That's what we doing out here?
Don't just say, Smitherman, there's a conflict and I can't write the letter. Say, well, Councilman, Vice Mayor, there is a conflict, but I'm going to give you a cure. I'm going to show you how we cure this so that we can ask the question as a...
Okay, I've heard enough. I'm not finding what I'm looking for here. Let's move on. Clue Magic writes, Trump is president because of racism. Racism, sexism, yep. He used a racist birther strategy, a Southern strategy. The birther strategy was a Southern strategy to whip white folks into a frenzy and about the former black president, and it worked like a charm. And then he also used sexism. You know, a lot of people didn't vote for Hillary Clinton because she's a woman. And they can tell themselves it was because of Benghazi. It was because, no, you didn't vote for her deep down in your heart because she was a woman. And Trump was expert about that. The other reason is that you had all the election tampering. The Russians got involved. Facebook was weaponized. But I agree. Black Russia writes, and the funny thing is that Dems won't vote for the name change because the idea came from a Republican. Then all the Dems will do is steal the idea, act like it was their original thought, and pass it because there's 6 of them on council. Hashtag say it. We'll see. Tracy writes, hashtag free chocolate sauce. That was hilarious. Maya writes, yes, I am Dillingham, just in case Glenn becomes a re-nigger and doesn't see me on the golf course like he said he would. If he doesn't, I'm headed to suburbia to wreak havoc. I want to play homie at the Weatherington, his private country club. He's gonna want to play at Avon in the city because he doesn't want people to know that he associates with us jungle bunnies. He my mans and all, but he got to see me on the golf course. I didn't need to read all of that. Clumagic writes, a forced sexual relationship, right? Black Russia writes, you are right, Cam. Black folks get fired up on some emotional shit, but don't get mad about some real shit. Well, no, I get mad about all the shit. And I don't think that black folks are fired up about this. I don't think anybody's really riled up about this, quite honestly. I just got riled up about it this morning. I haven't really heard anybody else going hard about it. I went to the University of Cincinnati. I remember having conversations about McMicken Hall. I might even wrote a piece about McMicken Hall in the news record. You know what I'm saying? It was a conversation. So that's why it stings and close to me, because I remember being a black student paying for an education and then looking up at this slave owner's name on a building on a campus that I'm paying for. So I'll say it again. I think that Jeff Pastor was 100% on point to pick up on. That's what you want good representatives to do. You know, somebody in the city opens your eyes. You're like, oh, I see clearer now. That's the way. It's called education. It's called edumacation. Black Russia. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Tony writes, it always amazes me how people think the dogfighting thing is new. My family's house was ground zero for neighborhood dog fights back in the late 70s. Man, there's so many different cultures out there, and it's hard to look over the shoulder of somebody else's culture and talk about what's right and wrong. You know what I'm saying? It really is. You know, there's a lot of different rituals and stuff that people do that's to their culture and authentic that if you're not of that culture, you're not of that specific group, you might be looking at them like, oh, strange. And at the same time, I do believe that there's such a thing called cruelty to animals. Do I think that dog fighting is cruelty to animals? I would say yes on some levels. I have to say yes. Let me see. Yeah, Tracy, I'm shaking my head too. Black Russia writes, what has PG done on council? Hashtag enlighten us. I'm not here to sing the virtues of anybody. And I think it's fair to ask that question. I think there's like 5 or 6 members of city council who've been down there for like 8 years. I think it's 100% fair, and we will and should do that with every single one of them. What did they do when they was on council? What was their impact? What were the policies that they championed? What did they do? Amy Murray, I'm just asking that question of her specifically this morning because she's in the news saying some dumb shit. So that's what it goes. Cam writes, at Nathan, Israel, Ludlow, at Charles McMicken, where birds of a feather changed Ludlow as well. Yeah. Tracy writes, facts, Black Russia. Clumagic writes, Evans should get jail time, but more than likely will only get probation and fines. White people playbook, slap on the wrist. Iris writes, did Law and Public Safety discuss CPD racial profiling in traffic stops? On this particular clip that's 40 minutes long, no, they did not. All I've seen on this clip is they discuss what was happening with the Lincoln Heights firing range. And they talked about the Gang of Five. Or should I say, Christopher Smitherman talked about the Gang of Five. Tracy writes, Puerto Rico is sitting in the dark. People still didn't know they are a part of America. Well, anybody doesn't know that Puerto Rico is a part of America, it just need to go pick up some books or go on Google. I got a partner, actually, that I just found out yesterday is actually traveling to Puerto Rico. I'm going to reach out to him, make sure he's all right. I'm not sure if he's there or not. But they had a couple of earthquakes. Yeah. Tony writes, is Bill Cosby blind or not? Maybe it was just a court thing. I don't think Bill Cosby's blind. Maya writes, Bill Cosby and Suge Knight tried to feign injuries to get sympathy. Pastors asking for more info, Iris. No discussion is needed until the info is gathered. Mason Muller writes, small violin for the weak. Let's see. Sister Iris dropped a link. Black neighborhoods, focus of traffic stops. Yeah, I remember we talked about this. And the police chief swore up and down that black people weren't being targeted. Right? But we already know that black people are the focus of these. I just love when this information comes out because it gives us more. It just further cements with, I read directly from this exact article that you posted here. And we spent some time breaking it all down by city. Yeah. That's great information. Thank you. Appreciate it. If Mike Vick was white, he'd have been forgiven and welcomed back into the white community. White folks have a hard time giving a black male the same accommodation. They do. Yeah, I just had to check a white woman. I don't know what it was, actually last year, who tried to call me aggressive. And I said, no, I'm angry. There's a difference between being aggressive and angry. I know some white folks don't know the difference. You see a large black man or any black man and he's angry, he's automatically aggressive. Two different things, boo. Let's just say she didn't like it. She didn't like it very much. Let me see. Smitherman's buddies and co pursued this laughable offense that created high fines. And like the great white hope in every slave movie, here comes Smitherman on his high horse to save the taxpayers from the common plot. Well, TNT's 100% correct. We already know she understands the plot. And, for me, it's quite simple. Hold on, we're getting a call here. Hold on 1 second here. Good morning. Hold on. We got a call coming in. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Guy, how are you?
I'm doing great, Guy.
Yes, sir. This is Spain Rothstein, a.k.a. Meyer Wolfsheim, a.k.a. Bay O. Wolf, a.k.a. Hacksaw Jim Thuggin. We're going to stop right there because I know you're short on time. First off, I think you kind of contradicted yourself talking about Michael Vick should be forgiven. I don't care what he's from the South. That's ignorant, fighting and hanging and electrocuting dogs. I mean, I don't mind him being at the Pro Bowl or whatnot, but I mean, that's kind of part of the package. You did what you did, and you're going to continue to face scrutiny and shame over that. For as far as I'm concerned. But to say that, and then as far as the UC buildings, or not the building, yeah, but the UC Street, McMicken, yeah, they should change the name of it, change it to Tangeman. Since it's really like the lead into the Clifton campus. I don't have a problem if they change it. I don't care what they change it to. I was just throwing a name out there that would be familiar with UC people. I'm sure you spent some time at TUC in the 90s, did you not?
I did.
Exactly. So yeah, Tangeman would be a good name for it. But
But you didn't tell me where the contradiction was.
He shouldn't be. That these building names need to be changed from former slave owners. Well, Michael Vick did some slave shit.
What was the slave shit that he did?
Dog fighting. That's derived from cockfighting. They did cockfighting during slavery era.
I'm still not seeing the contradiction there. Help me out.
Okay, I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but
I don't see the contradiction.
Oh, so Michael Vick shouldn't face scrutiny?
Well, Michael Vick went to federal prison.
Yeah, he did his time, but that don't mean he did his time, but that don't mean he's forgiven in the court of public opinion. That's some ignorant shit to be doing. I don't care that he's from the South.
Yeah, and part of the reason why he's not forgiven.
They were from the South, so they did what the Southern people do.
Well, it depends on what court and people's opinion you're asking. I think in the black community, we ain't really stunting about Michael Vick. It was never that big deal.
Dog fighting, but at the same time, I realize you're going to get what you get for that.
Yeah.
That was pretty ignorant.
Especially when you live in a society when they look at your skin and you always going to get unequal treatment. It's always going to be more harsher punishment. And
that's another thing, too, I wanted to talk about. There's been a lot of, social media sociologists, black ones, that have said, maybe black people, maybe we need to kind of forget about slavery because it's incapacitating to our current mental to try to get ahead. Because you keep wanting to bring it up.
Who said that dumb shit?
KRS-One, Judge Joe Brown.
Dumb shit.
I mean, you don't have to agree with it. I don't know if I necessarily agree with it, but I see what they're saying. I'm objective enough to at least
saying?
Take a look at it.
To
understand where they're coming from.
What are they saying?
I just told you. Let go of that slavery nudge on your shoulder, and maybe a chip on your shoulder, and maybe it won't hold you back so much mentally.
Mm-hmm. I don't believe it. Sounds like dumb shit. Nobody says that's the Jews. Let go of that Holocaust. Let go of that Holocaust chip on your shoulder, because then you'll be able to be successful.
You can go to Curtis Schoon's page, Judge Joe Brown's page, and you'll see it.
Scholars. But even smart people, I say scholars, but even a scholar can be wrong. I don't understand. Who has a chip on their shoulder? I didn't say they were right or wrong,
Nathan. I'm just bringing it to the thing. You coming off on me like I agree with it.
Oh,
I'm just saying.
I thought you did. You brought it up.
Nah, I just thought it was interesting because, they said this was months ago that I saw this on Twitter. And, you keep bringing up the slave owner McMicken and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, okay, yeah, he owned slaves. I ain't tripping. That ain't going to change the name of the fact that ain't going to change the fact that the University of Cincinnati is still a PWI and a state institution. So, on some level, slavery is going to be a part of it regardless.
So we should just accept it?
No, I didn't say just accept it. You know, but if you're gonna go to UC, just understand that's gonna be what it is. You understand?
So just accept it. I get it.
You did not. You last week when you played Tariq Nasheed going at Yvette and Tone, you didn't play the best part of the video.
I know I didn't.
You know, when he was getting that tone, mocking him.
Mocking when he's doing his voice.
I got the data. I'm not just getting my way through this. I'm not just getting my way through this. I'm smarter than you. I'm an Emmy-nominated producer. That was the best part of it.
That was the best part.
I'm like, how you keep missing that?
I listened to the show. I listened to the show afterward, and I was like, you know what? I did miss out on the best part. That was the best part.
You know, and you know, so but see, that's the thing with him. You know, you mentioned about how he's going at people and whatnot. See, that's what I don't like as well about them. You know, arguing with each other. You know, like he had beef with Umar Johnson. He's had beef with everybody.
Right.
Tommy Sotomayor.
Tommy needed
you know,
it.
it's like
Tommy needed it.
There's enough crumbs for each of you all to eat and eat well.
I agree.
You know, even though we might not like what Tommy Sotomayor says, but we be assholes to think that what he's saying, while it may be harsh and hard to stomach, that there ain't some truth to what he says.
Yeah, but just because there's a little bit of truth don't give you creative license to just go as far as Tommy does. You know, he be trashing black women.
He's got to do what he does to get his point across.
And I guess the same thing with Tariq Nasheed. Like, would Tariq be as popular as he is and have as many followers if he didn't do that kind of stuff? Probably not.
I mean, yeah, he did the Crispy thing, and he had he sold an app about Crispy.
Did he?
Yeah, he had an app about, you know, dude was walking through the streets in some black dress shoes and white tube socks getting butter biscuits.
Hell no.
You know, the butter biscuits were like the coins on Sonic, if you will.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, he clowned dude pretty good, but
he did.
Like, you know, I don't know what they ultimately fell out from, but I kind of saw it coming because I was watching both of them. But you know, like I said, I just.
Well, Tariq, like you said,
I get Tommy.
You said you get Tommy? You get Tommy?
Yeah, I get him. I get what he's trying to say.
I just feel like what he's trying to say is ultimately like banal. You know, we got it. You know, I get it. You know, we got things we got to work on ourselves. I get it.
I mean, well, there's plenty of stuff that's banal that you get hyped off of this show that your listeners do.
I mean, that's a matter of interpretation, but okay.
Oh, what, you the one brought it up, not me.
I didn't bring up what? What did I bring up?
You said that, you know, what he talks about is banal. Right. I don't find it to be banal, but I find other stuff to be banal.
Yeah,
that's on the show. Not necessarily you bring up, but like your listeners get all hyped up over the same stuff. Like, come on, guys.
Well, that's your interpretation. But I brought that up in response to you saying that you said you could understand where Tony Sotomayor was coming from. That's why I brought that up. They don't want you there.
People shop online anyway. You know, that little kid getting arrested, I'm still pissed over that.
Yeah, I'm still pissed over it too. And in fact, you tried to vilify this young black girl and her mama when the real perpetrator was this black man. No, I'm talking about the young, impressionable, 11-year-old girl whose brain is not developed, who got tasered by this grown-ass black man.
You damn right her brain ain't developed because she got talked into a dare by a 9-year-old.
Right. And that's my point.
How the older girl gonna get hustled by the second grader?
Exactly my point. And then you had a grown man in his 40s that basically did something that ultimately even the mayor had to come out against.
Who? What?
What you mean? Who? What? That's why they dropped the charges.
What grown man in his 40s?
I'm talking about the grown man, or maybe he's in his 50s. I'm talking about the police officer that tased that young girl over the Kennard Avenue Kroger.
Oh, that was just overreaction because we saw an 11-year-old get tased, but at the end of the day, I think they did say he followed policy. She was within age. You know, he gave a command to stop. You know, whether they're a threat to the community or not, that's another thing.
Well, actually didn't follow policy.
Okay, well, that's another thing. We need to quit. You know, it's no different than Sandra Bland. Quit fighting and fussing with these cops. It ain't helping nothing. You know, quit fighting and fussing with them right there in the moment. Take the fight to court.
Yeah.
The lady just, posted something about some victory she won about the Citizens Complaint Authority. Yeah, that's where you take your fight with the cops.
Right.
But I still think that fight needs to go a little higher. But still, that's where you take the fight with the cops in the court. You don't sit there and fuss with them and on the street. It's just gonna come out bad for you. It might it might be made up for you, but chances are it might not come up negative for them. It's not worth the gamble.
Right. And you can appeal to grown folks on that level. We were talking about a child, an 11-year-old. So
that's
all the more
mama's
reason
job,
why this
mine.
guy was completely
That's
wrong
her mama's job,
to use
not the
lethal
Nathan
force
Ivy
about
Show
a child.
listeners.
And she stole, what, $47 worth of Grippos and snacks? Ridiculous.
I don't give a damn if she stole a 25-cent blow pop.
I know you don't.
Stealing is
I know you
stealing.
don't. That's why I'm here to bring common sense to the conversation. But I know you don't. That's why I'm here to tell you that what that guy did was wrong.
Okay. Does if you steal a 25-cent blow pop or $47 worth of groceries, that's still an M1, is it not?
I don't know the details about it. You saying misdemeanor 1? I don't know. Maybe you're right.
I believe that. Well, for an adult, I don't know what they carry for juveniles, but
Right.
for an adult, it still carries 6 months in the joint.
Right, because we look at juveniles differently. We shouldn't prosecute,
Yeah, exactly.
and we shouldn't
you
interact with
especially
juveniles
should
the
not
same
be
way
up
we
here
would with an
stealing.
adult.
You keep trying to rehash this.
No, you
We've
brought
already-
it up.
That girl's sentence has been executed. They got the white daddy involved. Gerhard Steen and now they whole business got put on the street because of this little girl's fatal mistake. That they ain't even really getting no dough from it because they own the system. It all gets all the money they get from the settlement goes back into the welfare system because that's what they own.
Is
so
that
you
how
put
that
their
works?
business in the street.
Is that
Nice
how that
job,
works?
sixth grader.
Is that how that works? I'm not sure.
I believe that was what was said on this show, on this very show.
I don't recall that. Maybe you're right.
recall
I'm
it.
not
You
challenging
just
it.
front
I just don't recall
like
it.
you normally do. You recall that?
I mean, I don't have to lie to you, B. I would keep it real with you.
You don't remember that conversation,
No.
that big of a news topic that you so upset about. You don't remember the final disposition?
We're both upset about it, but no, I don't remember that particular comment being made about the details
do
of where the
remember
money was
that.
going to go.
Yes,
I'm not
yes.
challenging you. I'm just saying I don't recall it.
Okay. Well, okay then. Well, like I said, and as far as, the Remus and Romulus statue,
Yeah.
The fact that Benito Mussolini gave, it was a newspaper, it was an article on
Yeah, I saw it.
either PX or the Enquirer last night online.
Yeah.
That the fact that Benito Mussolini gave it to us is like the fourth most creepiest thing about it.
What's the number 1, 2, and
Basically
3?
saying that you got two humans drinking a wolf's blood or milk, feeding from a wolf.
Mm-hmm. Do you know who Remus and Romulus is? Or
What?
Do you know who Remus and Romulus are supposed to be?
Yeah, they're my ancestors.
Mm-hmm. Well, for everybody else, they're like it's like from a myth, like a Roman mythology. So they're not really real people. It's kind of like
I get that.
Okay, I just want to let you know
It's
that.
still a depiction.
Right, you're true.
There's no need to, there's no need to split hairs here. It's still a depiction of humans, being breastfed by a wolf.
So
Right.
what was number 2?
I don't remember. I didn't read the article in detail. I just, the headline caught me, and I'm like, yeah, they're right, man.
So you're more upset
we
about
check-
that than you are slave owners that have street names after them in Cincinnati.
No, I wasn't upset about it. I'm totally indifferent to Remus and Romulus. I could
okay.
care less. And I'm so Cincinnati. No matter what you change McMicken to, I'm gonna still call it McMicken.
No, that's called slave mentality.
Well, then I guess my name's Toby. Okay, because I'm just gonna call it that, just because that's what I've been calling it for 43 years.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What you want me to call it? The hill on top, the hill behind White Castle? Is that what you want to call it?
That would be better.
Okay, White Castle, exactly. A plantation. Who's got the slave mentality now?
You do. You do. Thank you for the call. You don't have to be say he gonna call it that. I'm gonna call you massa no matter what. Emancipation. I don't know nothing about no emancipation. You massa. That's our daily call from Steven from Django. I hate to do Fame this way, man, but damn it, Fame, you earned it. Where's my Django clip? Remember the scene from Django with Leonardo DiCaprio's character is fatally injured, and he was like, ah! Start screaming, "We hurt where we shot at." He said, "You're going to call that anyway." You should, man. You should do whatever you want to do. All right, 513-873-7134, whatever. I feel like we was in 1,000 places. And I still don't understand where the contradiction was that you initially said. I just don't see it. I'm sure it's there, though. I'm sure it's there. If you see a grown black man suckling from that statue, it's fame. He said it was his ancestors. Okay. We can do that too. Back to your chat here. He may fool some people, but he is not fooling everybody. Hashtag make Smitherman black again. That's hilarious. Tracy writes, 100% Target fame. Those dogs were sick because they have killed each other. That's where the problem starts. Y'all missing my point. My comparison with Michael Vick had nothing to do with the street names. It had to do with what happened recently at the Cincinnati Zoo, where they euthanized a tiger. Quote unquote, the Cincinnati Zoo officials made the difficult decision. What's so difficult about it? It's the right thing to do. If it's the right thing to do, it shouldn't be difficult. That's because he had a choice. And if somebody made the point that if Michael Vick was Peyton Manning, America never would have reacted the way they did. So to hear people calling in now justifying, what happened to Michael Vick, and these are people of color, it's like, wait a minute, where you coming from? You know what I'm saying? Michael Vick's real crime was that he was a successful black man playing quarterback at a time when this country was still kind of getting used to it, coming in here with cornrows and $100,000, Cuban link chains with diamonds in it. Talking about you the quarterback. Some folks. Timothy writes, what up, peeps? Hey, Timothy. Good to see you. TNT writes, it is selective enforcement of the law. If anyone should be facing criminal charges and going before a judge and heading to jail, it's Joe Dieters and Pat DeWine for their dirty dealings and abusing their power to allow a family member access to a public contract. Our taxpayer dollars. Is Coast pursuing that, BR? Let me guess. No. King Kobla is in the house. Good to see you, brother. He writes, are North Korea and Iran allies? It's a good question. I don't know offhand. That's beyond my knowledge. Social media activists, ha ha ha. Let go of slavery nudge. Tell that to Jewish people. Yeah, right. Let go of slavery. I mean, I don't think you, yes and no, and really more no than anything else. I don't know how you let go of slavery. Like, it's not something you sitting around mad about all the time. But people who are ignorant of their past, what does that say about their future? I think we got to be conscious about what happened and understand that there's a certain responsibility that goes along with it. I don't know. He was all over the place. They let the mayor Cranley slide with his excuse for his conveniently destroyed cell phone, but wanted to hold Tamaya in contempt. Selective enforcement. You are full of shit. That's TNT. Right. This is just, it's just Democrats and Republicans going at it. This is, as I said before, and people don't like it. I know Black Russia and all of Christopher Smitherman's friends will disagree with me. But as I said last year, I don't see anything different. I see the same thing. It was politically motivated. Do I think that city council should be following the rules? Absolutely. They should not have a quorum away from the public because that's what the rules are. Period. I think everybody agrees with that. But does it warrant, and I didn't even realize this, Christopher Smitherman's holding 30-minute conversations about the so-called Gang of Five? I mean, it just seems like, I don't know. I know that Christopher Smitherman, it just seems like a waste of time to me, ultimately, from the standpoint of somebody who we're going to have to make a decision. Coming up in 2021, all of us, if you're voting in Cincinnati, you're going to have to make a decision about city council members. and you're going to have to make a decision about who the next mayor is going to be. That's undeniable. What I need is as much information about ideas, right? About the possibilities. That's what I need. I don't need a protracted conversation about text messages, which I thought had already been settled, because that to me, it doesn't really, it don't matter. It don't matter. It might serve Smitherman. It might serve like conservative radio and Willie Cunningham, and it gives them something to talk about and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I just don't know if that's like something that people are really going to hold on to. I mean, it'll get headlines. It'll be interesting, but I don't know if that's going to be the determining factor on how people are going to make their vote, but we shall see. Maybe it will. Black Russia writes, Coast isn't law enforcement, TNT. They sue on behalf of taxpayers like Mark Miller, a city resident, when government isn't acting properly. Thank God for Brian Shrive. Otherwise, a majority of council, the Gang of Five, would have continued to discuss public matters in a private meeting. Oh, yeah, thank God for Brian Shrive. Yes. Who will not come on this show. He refuses to come on the show. I reached out to him, not reaching out anymore. And he made it very, very plain. He doesn't recognize his platform. I'm too small for him. He thought it was a magazine, or that's what he said anyway. And then he unfollowed me. So, fuck him too, so what? It's not going to stop us from having our conversations, and it's not going to change the nature of what's really going on here. And most smart people already know that. I will not allow black people to have the wool pulled over their eyes by operatives who are trying to sell them bullshit. It's just not going to happen on this show. It's not going to happen. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep it Rizzo, and then you make your own decision based upon all of the policy information. That's what I want to focus on. Policy. Who's going to have the best policies for the future of Cincinnati for mayor? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to have an agenda that matters to me, kitchen table ideas that matter to me as I make a decision in 2021? That's just me. And something tells me that the vast majority of voters are probably going to do the same thing. They're going to be thinking, they're looking for, substance and not just sizzle. And, but that's just a guess. Who knows? Tracy Rice fame, the Kenwood Mall story came up because last week he avoided Kenwood and went to Beaver Creek Mall. You must have been absent. Let me see. Somebody's right. Isn't Herman King serving pizza? I don't think he's serving pizza. I think he owns a pizza franchise or something like that, I think. How many lone wolf Iranian Unabombers do you think are in the States? I hope none, but TNT writes, therefore, I gives not one fuck about this sideshow drama over majority text messages. If they discuss basic matters and still brought it to the public and deliberated in front of the people, then what is the real issue? Well, that's what I've been saying, TNT. Like, if I thought it was a real issue, I say that. But to me, it's like they were discussing what to do about, I think it was Harry Black. I think that's what it was, because Harry Black was being railroaded by John Cranley. John Cranley got in his feelings and decided he wanted Harry Black to go. And I don't know if this was the reason why, but it was shortly after Harry Black went to the media and started talking about how there was a plot against the black police chief. See, I remember history. Some people, it's not convenient for them. That was the circumstances. Harry Black basically started talking about how there was a plot to undermine the current police chief. And about 2 weeks after that, all of a sudden, Harry Black had to go. And we start learning about how something he did in Denver 5 years ago, 3 years ago, something that nobody really cared about. And then the mayor of Cincinnati made this a number one issue for a short time. This was the number one issue. He was having press conferences in his office. And so city council's running around scrambling, trying to figure out what to do. And that was the nature of the text messages. From what I read, and if this information, because I think this would be different. I don't remember, from what I read, them talking about like developers or, some other issues or continuous issues. I still think it was wrong because those are what the rules are. It was a self-inflicted wound. But at the same time, you got to look at the overall context of what actually happened and what the real impact is. I would say, do we want a majority of city council deliberating in darkness? No, we do not. But that isn't what really happened here. But to each their own. And then you already know how they feel about Tamaya. And by they, I mean the forces that want to maintain the status quo. The forces that want to maintain the status quo do not like Tamaya Denard. They don't like her. She down there checking the mayor, talking about you don't have to white splain to me. This city ain't never had that before. This city isn't used to that. And, city council holding up and slowing up development deals like FC Cincinnati. The business community is used to having city council operate like soft butter to their hot knife. They ain't used to that. You got some of the most powerful people in this area. In fact, in probably this side of the country, some of the richest people in this area behind FC Cincinnati. Those kind of people are used to getting what they want. And so you had the forces of the status quo, led by Smitherman, at least publicly, who led a charge to go from 4 years to 2 years. Who does that? They did that because city council was down there asking questions, talking about this development may not be equitable. At least some of them were anyway. These developers ain't used to that. Remember, you go back to Yvette Simpson. She checking Children's Hospital. That put Yvette Simpson, who I just saw recently, shout out to Yvette Simpson. That put Yvette Simpson in the crosshairs of the very powerful business committee here in the city of Cincinnati and others. So come on, man, let's see this for what this is and what it is not. And what this is a politically motivated attempt on a couple levels. And one level is I just feel like a lot of this Gang of Five stuff, if I had to be honest, which is me being honest with you, if I had to be honest with you, to me, a lot of this Gang of Five stuff, it really comes down to two people, Smitherman and Sittenfeld. Christopher Smitherman has already said he's running for mayor. And the rumor in the city is that PG Sittenfeld is running for mayor. That's what this is about. I think Tamaya Denard is a target on some levels, but I think everybody else is sort of like collateral damage. And that's the reason why, of all the people in Cincinnati, you hear Christopher Smitherman talking about this the most. He talks about Gang of Five more than anything else. Why? Because I guess it benefits him. It plays well with his audience. And that's what I see. And that's called politics. That's what you do. You get something over your opponent, whether it's substantive or it just has a lot of sizzle. You run with it until you can't run with it no more. And that's what I see. But what do you see? You might see something different. Mr. Drop writes, Mr. Mahler, has the Democrats been effective for black women? ? In 2020, stop answering questions with, what about Republicans? They all discuss government issues before the actual meeting, whether it's in the comfort of their office, text message, email, etc. This is so pathetic obvious that everyone pursuing this as if they were dealing with a high-level crimes should raise their right hand and slap themselves. Let me see. See, Black Russia writes, LOL TNT, you spinning to make it make sense. The gang deliberated in private and came to the public, acted as if they didn't deliberate in private. Yeah, but again, I think we'll have more time. Unfortunately, this story just won't go away because the Republicans are going to try to hold on to it as much as possible because they feel like it works for them. It gives them something to talk about. But that was the other thing. Like, as a taxpayer, as a member of Cincinnati, as a citizen, I sat down and I really asked myself, like, okay, how do I feel about this and what's the impact? So to me, if you if you can get 4 people, so as it is right now, you talk about splitting hairs. As it is right now, you can get 4 people on city council, and they can do exactly what those 5 Democrats did, and it doesn't break any rules. The reason why it breaks the rules is because there's 9 seats on council. A majority is 5, obviously. And so you have something called quorum, and I get it. But there's very little difference, quite honestly, between having 4 people and 5 people. There's very little difference. So the whole idea that council members don't deliberate before the public is a lie, Black Russia. They all do it. They may not do it with a majority of council, but the principle of them having a conversation before they get in public, they all do that. Do I understand the rules are there for a reason? 100%. And I agree with them. I agree with them because you want to see them deliberate and come to their decision in public. I get it. But I think people are really trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. And Black Russia called in talking about bigger issues. I mean, what a hypocrite. There's a lot. The McMicken name change issue is bigger than the Gang of 5 text message so-called controversy in terms of substance to me. You know, maybe you might see differently, but tell me what you think. Fame, we're talking about 2 different stories. I get that feeling. Who cares of the powers like Miss Denard? Who cares of the powers like Miss Denard? She had the majority, right? I don't understand your question, Broadway. I don't understand your question. It's always a black woman that seemingly have to check bullish across the board. Hashtag Black Women Rock. I agree with you. And you're right. It is black women. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying the Democrat Party, I've said it before, they need to listen to black women. They need to understand and focus on the issues of black women, because with all the chaos and all the noise in 2016, black women as a demographic saw through the BS and they voted accordingly. Everybody else was on some nonsense. They couldn't see the forest for the trees and couldn't make heads or tails of it and couldn't see through the smoke. But black females, as we all know, can see through the BS real quick, and they did that. And I don't know if the Democrat Party is giving them the proper respect that they deserve. I don't know. We'll find out, I guess. I'm not sure how we'll find out. Let's see. TNT writes, it's another political ploy, and as a homeowner and taxpayer, I hate it when politicians try to insult my intelligence with their pseudo dramas. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it, pseudo drama. That's what this is. Maybe. I mean, again, I understand the concept. I'm just saying that when they made those sunshine laws, it was before text messaging. It was way before emails. Having a meeting, you can have a meeting on a group call or Facebook. You can Facebook 5-6 people at one time, I think, or FaceTime people. So the way that people communicate has changed immensely. All right, before we leave, I want to leave with a little hilarity, hopefully, a little levity. And I am searching right now. Fame was right. I did not play the best part. Of the Tariq Nasheed quote. I'm sorry, Tariq Nasheed video in which he was going after the members, not even the members, the founders of ADOS.
Got offended because she's LBGT, and her thing is a whole LBGT agenda. So
let me see if I can find this real quick.
That's what grown people are supposed to produce that documentary. They just kind of gave him a name credit. This is a woman who's a lifelong fan, ain't about shit. Your auntie done had her kids taken away. Your auntie's been on.
I can't. We had to pick up on the other day. I can't right now. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. Let me see. Black Russia writes, I agree what the Gang of 5 did was effery. They cost taxpayers $176,000 because they didn't understand the Ohio open meeting laws. Is that what happened? Is that what happened? Does it really matter? Smitherman lost all chance of being mayor when he turned into Sensible Don 2.0 down the dial. Sensible Don. I've never met Sensible Don, although I did hear him during a morning show. He was down the dial, as they call it. Of course, we're not on the dial now. We're on the internet. But you're saying he was Sensible Don 2.0, huh? That ain't a good look. Let's just put it that way. If you don't know, Sensible Don is an African American. I think he's more conservative or something like that. It doesn't really matter to me. But he was sort of like a co-host on a show. And a lot of people criticize it because, I don't know, it just seemed like he was on some other-ish. It seems like he was on some like, you know, that's my man over there. That's my African American over there, you know. Now, the radio station I'm talking about is a very conservative radio station, right? And they feature white male conservatives. The only time they have black folks on there is when they're talking about sports. Other than that, politics, the white males will handle this. We'll bring the brothers in. You can talk sports. What's going on with the Bengals? And that's about it. Mason Mahler writes, Sensible Don was the older version of Drop. TNT writes, you're absolutely right, Nathan. It's all about Smitherman and Sittenfield. He knows he has a snowball's chance in hell to beat PG. What people should be recognizing is who is invested in Smitherman's winning. What are they willing to do to ensure his success from the prosecutor, the lame-ass judge, and now the auditor? They were all willing to play their role in this plot because Smitherman has always been a good puppet. Oh, boy. She going hard. I don't mind it. Well, you know, this is going to be fun stuff here, you know, because this is what I'm all about. You know, we're all about talking about local issues. I love political season because, you know, it gives us a chance to get a sense of who these individuals are, who has the best ideas. And I think that's, you know, that's why I'm here in a lot of ways. That's why I'm here to help bring another perspective. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be wrong. I'm just giving you a strong, honest opinion every single morning. And that's when you wake up. That's what you're going to get from me. A strong, honest opinion on everything that's going on. People, politics, and pleasure. So it's currently 10:21 a.m. I've got to make a move. Have an excellent Tuesday, and we'll talk real soon. I'm out.
Thank you.